I think that politicians and all those folks that oppose us in the school choice movement, I think they should see the faces of the children. See, I'm of the mind that if you see children doing well, then maybe you ought to rethink your position. I think it's happening all over the country. I think that more and more people that have opposed us in the past are seeing programs working, are visiting Cleveland, are visiting schools in D.C., are talking to parents, and seeing that we have to provide some kind of outlet for parents and children, and the ones we are providing are working. This program, the vouchers, yes, has been controversial, and it's been controversial, because, the traditions and the past and emotional feelings about public education. And, but we can no longer tell parents to wait until the public education system fixes itself. We've got to be able to give them some other alternatives and options to send their children somewhere else. So I think as we get more into this dialogue about education and serving kids, I think these programs will provide a good place for children to go. And I think people will turn around. I think it's a matter of sitting down and talking to folk and just saying, what would you want for your child? I mean, you want the best, absolute best education you can find for your own child. Well, so do the families that are not being served in traditional public education. They want the best for their children. They want their children to be in schools where expectations are high, and this is no different from what you want. And I think those of us that are out here on the battlefield, we have to say that to people, and we have to be not afraid to say it to people. And I'm not. And I think that will begin to make people change their mind, because if you really look at what's going on, very few teachers have their children in schools where they teach. Very few legislators, if any, in Washington, and there are probably none in Washington, have their children in D.C. public schools. So, we have to start saying to elected officials and those folk, if this is not a school you would put your children in, why do you object to our kids leaving the same school that you don't want to put your child in? And I think that we have to be not afraid to say that, and I think parents are the ones that have to say that. And that's why it's so important that this be parent-driven efforts. Parents have to be a part of this. Parents have to raise their voices and say to Mr. Legislator, I don't want anything less than what you would want for your child. In the life of the program, which has been 3 years, we just finished in our third year in the Opportunity Scholarship Program, we've seen several thousand parents apply. Of course, we've accepted 1,800 or 2,000. I think we just had another lottery, and we have 200 more kids that are going to the program next year. But we see a continual flow of parents learning about the program. The community has made sure that the word is getting out, and now we're getting calls from people saying, "Can you come tell me about the program?" That hasn't stopped. It has just continued for 3 years, and now going into the fourth year, we're still getting the same calls from all over the community saying, please come out and tell us about this community and bring applications. So I think that as the word gets out, that we're going to always have just constant flow of parents that want the best for their children. That's what this is about. It's about the best chance for their children to make it. These families that we serve are low-income families who would not have had a lot of the opportunities that will exist for their children now that they're part of this program. And I think as long as kids are in the program and doing as well as we see them doing, there are going to be other families that are going to come behind them.